Hello everyone, and welcome to my first video of the year in March. My preparation for videos is the same as my race car, last minute. What I'm going to do for the first video is a sort of a season review of last year, let you know how I got on sort of in each race, and also who were the top 3 people to finish in each race, to give you a bit of an idea on the type of cars that are available in the 70s Roadsports, if you fancy joining us. Let's get to it. Before I start the review, I'd just like to dedicate this video to Charles Barter. Charles unfortunately passed away at the end of last year, and he was the undisputed father of the 70s Roadsports. He sort of campaigned for us, pushed the championship in the right direction, and on the track in his Datsun T40Z, he was always at the top, and it was unbelievable what he could do in that car. And so he will be really missed by everyone, but he won't be forgotten. So I'd like to dedicate the video to him. So first round was Brands Hatch Indy Circuit. A long drive down for me to get there. I mentioned it earlier on pre-season sort of preparation. I put the engine back in the car the day before. So typically my pre-season testing was driving it from my trailer to the assembly area for qualifying. So not quite sure how it'd go. Car fortunately ran very well. I'd pretty much got the setup right at the end of last year, so I was hoping it'd be okay. And it worked very well. So qualifying was good, and then in the first race, because it was a double-header weekend, I managed to come back in 4th place, which was my best result to date, which was fantastic. So then second race, that was on the same day, and you start in your finish position from the last race, so started in 4th, and even with a couple of race starts with incidents, I managed to keep that 4th position. So 2 4th places was a brilliant start to the season. And the coveted Driver of the Day award. So that was a mint weekend for me. Very, very happy with that. In the first race, first place was Kevin Kevlocken in his Morgan +8. Second was Jez Clark in a Lotus Elan S4. And third place was Paul Toombs in his Lotus Europa. And in the second race, Charles Barter came from the back of the grid, and with the restarts, it helped bunch everything back up again. So he came away in first place. Jez Clark was second in his Elan, and Paul Toombs was third in his Europa. So yeah, good racing from everyone that weekend. Next race was the Snetterton 300 circuit. So long circuit, very long straight. Not great for the small CC cars personally. It's such a long straight. You're at maximum revs for quite a while, so you're sort of risking the engine a bit more than you'd like to. It was nice and sunny, nice and dry, and had a fantastic scrap with Gary Thomas in his Lotus 7. Very, very fun race, trying to chase him down. He just beat me over the line in that, so I came 6th overall in that, second in the class. Jez Clark came first in his Lotus Elan. Howard Payne was second in the Lotus Europa. Charles Barter in his Datsun came in 3rd place. Unfortunately, after the race, we all got weighed. Gary in his Lotus 7 was actually a touch underweight, so unfortunately got disqualified. So I had actually in the end got given the first in class for that, which helps championship points, but it was a shame that the result ended in that way, really. Next up was Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. So some people don't like it. I think I really like the circuit. It's big. and it's designed for the sort of Formula One cars. So again, slower speed cars, smaller CC cars. It's not ideal, but it's nice and sunny, nice and dry. Came 11th in that race, which I was pretty happy with, considering it's a big horsepower track. So yeah, came away with a good result from that. First place was Will Plant in a Morgan +8. Charles Barter came second in his Datsun. Jim Dean came third in his Lotus Europa. So slightly different result there. And then we followed on to Cadwell Park. Cadwell is a mega circuit. Lovely sort of undulation to it. Challenging circuit, very, very tight. So it makes for close racing. It's a double header as well, which is always awesome. So on the Saturday, it was sort of nice and dry, so perfect for the Vixen. And I had a very, very good race with a Lotus Elan and an E-Type, where I actually managed to get past them in the end, which released me to sort of go as quick as I could. So came 6th overall in that race, which again I was really happy with that. Julian Barter came first in a 3000M, Jez Clark was second in his Elan, and Charles Barter came third in his Datsun. Race 2 was the following day, and it was terrible. The weather was awful. It was torrential rain. I only run on one set of tyres, so it's not ideal when it rains, especially at a circuit like Cadwell that's so tight. It's under the trees a little bit, so it can be quite greasy. I started in the positions we finished, so started in 6th, got a really good start, made my way up to sort of 5th, and then on the first lap just spun it out. It was like driving on ice, and after that, whether it was the tyres or probably my confidence as much as anything, I just backed off and went, you know what, I'm bringing this car home in one piece, because if I push it again, I'm just gonna hit a barrier and that'll be game over. So I slipped all the way back after my spin, and a few more people overtaking me, slipped back to 17th, so it was not a good race for me, but I survived the weekend. First place in that was Paul Toombs. Charles Barter came second, and Julian Barter sort of slipped back to third because he was sort of similar to me on a dry set of tyres, so just could not get traction. So it is what it is. Next up, it was Donington Park. Again, I really like that circuit. Sort of running down the hill through those bends is really good fun, especially I think in an older car. And it was nice and bright and dry. My only issue was the day before I'd been on a stag do, so I got to that circuit just knackered, so tired, probably still stinking of beer from the night before, who knows. But had a really good race with Gary Thomas in his Lotus 7. We were sort of passing each other all the time. There was also a Lotus Europa involved in that, which made it really interesting. In the end, Gary managed to just beat me. It was like down to the last corner. I was just coming up on the inside of him, and then we saw the flags out for a slow moving vehicle, so because I was the one attacking, I just backed out of it. There's no point risking anything. So Gary managed to get me in that race, unfortunately. And then Julian Barter was first in that race in his 3000M TVR. Jim Dean came second, and John Williams came third in a Porsche 911. So yeah, good weekend. I was glad to get back home and sleep though. Next race was back down to Brands Hatch, but it was the Grand Prix circuit. We're very fortunate to be able to race on that circuit because it's not really open that much during the year. The year before, for me, I didn't actually get to finish because I had my windscreen explode into pieces. But again, I was on my own in my class for that race, unfortunately. But I managed to come 8th overall. Which again, for that sort of circuit, you need a bit of power down the straight, so I was happy with that. the first, second and third, Charles Barter was first in that, in his Datsun. Jez Clark came second, and John Williams was third in his 911. Next up was Alton Park, my local circuit, so I love it because it's 40-minute drive, so that makes life a lot easier when something's that close. I think it's a really good track, very technical, quite a few blind sort of corners, can be a little bit dangerous because of that. You can't really see past in case people say spun off, things like that, until you're right there. But I thoroughly enjoyed the track. The race was brilliant for me. Big battle with Nick Strong and his Marcos, which in the end he burnt his brakes out, as that Marcos tends to do. So yeah, came home in third place overall, which is my best finish. It was great to get a podium finish, and actually to share it with Charles, that was his last podium as well, so it's going to sort of stick in my mind as one of those that I'll definitely never forget that. So in the race, Charles came first, so he got that podium finish, and then second was Jez Clark, and it was me in third. So yeah, brilliant all round. The next race in the series is Croft, which we've not raced at for a few years. I love that circuit. I think it's great. You know, really good fun. Unfortunately, I had a wedding to go to, and my brother's wedding, so I'm not going to be able to skip that one, I don't think. It was a very good wedding though, so it wasn't a complete loss. So yeah, unfortunately I missed that, so fingers crossed, you know, we'll get to do it again. So the last race was the Silverstone finals, so that's the smaller national sort of circuit at Silverstone. It's not my favourite, to be honest. It's 3 straights and 3 corners basically. It's the last time you get to see everyone. There's cake and beer, so you may as well go anyway. It was again a brilliant race with Gary Thomas in his Lotus 7. I got a very good start, so I managed to pull ahead, burnt my tyres up basically, overdriving, and Gary just reeled me in, and then the tyres and my talent sort of ended at the same moment, and I ended up spinning out. Luckily, just spun out, got the car back in the right direction. Car was fine, so I managed to finish the race. But yeah, unfortunately second in class at that day. Julian Barter was first in that race in his TVR 3000M. Nick Strong in his Marcos 3000 came second, and Jim Dean came third in his Lotus Europa. And so that was the end of the season. Brilliant season for me. The only issue I had with my car was that at Alton Park I'd ripped the diff off one of the carrier mounts, so it was rumbling quite a lot in the race, but quick welding session on that and it's all back together, so car ran great. Overall, because I'd been nice and consistent, which is generally the key in any sort of motorsport actually, I was all season sort of swapping first, second, third overall in the championship with the points. In the end, Jez was just in his Lotus Elan was just very, very good, very, very consistent. He had won the championship before the last race with that points lead that he had, and it came down to me and John Wagstaff, who's in a beautiful Alfa 2000 GT. Lovely, lovely car. And he's in the 2 litre class, so separate class to myself. Again, he was very, very consistent all year, and it basically came down to I had to get fastest lap, win my class and get fastest lap, and I might have potentially got past him, but I didn't. So in the end, third overall in the championship, which best result by far, and I hope to sort of capitalise on my car behaving and get a good season this year. I hope you all like the quick review, and you know, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'll be doing some videos on my car, the preparation I'm going to do, a bit more on tyres and technical things this year, hopefully. Hopefully not any massive breakages this year, and the car will run all right. and I'm really looking forward to it. So about a month to go, and that's it. The season starts. So until next time, see you later.